Well, good afternoon. Welcome to the 2020 New York City STEM Goes Red digital experience. I'm Dr. Jennifer Hodge. I'm the early pipeline and gene therapy lead in North America for Pfizer. And I am thrilled to be here with you today as this year's STEM Goes Red chair. My passion for STEM began at a really early age when I used to go to my dad's biology classroom, and I was in love. As a classically trained immunologist, I am proud to make my mark in the world of STEM by applying science and technology to address the unmet therapeutic needs in rare diseases by working at Pfizer. As someone who was one of only a few women in my courses throughout my education, I have dedicated myself to encouraging young women like yourselves to break down those barriers and pursue a career in STEM. We are so excited to have all of you join us over the course of this hour, where you will hear from some incredible women who are pioneers in the world of STEM. You will learn more about the opportunities that exist within this ever-growing and vital field, and how you can take the first step in pursuing your own dream, as well as how to become a driving force for change in your own communities. This program that we created is all about you, our students. So we encourage you to keep an open mind, dream big, and know that you have the strength within you to become who you want to be after high school and beyond. The time is now to take control of your goals, your own future, and your destiny. Despite any obstacles that stand in your way, we know that you have the ability to get out there and pursue your dreams and live fierce.
My world, our world may keep changing, but I'm not going to let the days blur together anymore. This is my awakening. No backing down, no matter the obstacle. I stand for those who make up the fabric of my life, where I come from, and where I'm going. I stand for my loved ones and for myself. My mission is to change the word challenge to opportunity. And my goal is to live without limitations. Let's make a declaration together. Our future has no boundaries, no limits, no ceilings. I'm opting in, signing up, and raising my voice. Today is the day I recommit to my shine, to reaching out and digging deep for inspiration, to shouting out loud when I need help and when I can give it, to ensure that all of our voices are heard and the person behind each voice is served. For myself, for my community, for our health, and for so much more, because my promise is to live fierce every day. There's strength in possibility, strength in numbers, and new opportunities are going to keep on coming. With the American Heart Association by my side, I'm ready for them because we live fierce.
Wow, are you all ready to live fierce? Because you are the future generation of STEM leaders, and it's your time to turn the challenges we face as women into opportunities and not allow barriers to stop you from doing what you love. Through this 2-week New York City STEM Goes Red digital experience, we are here to provide you the tools, the resources, and the encouragement you need to learn more about a future career in STEM. So let's take a moment to connect. Please use your chat box to tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, what school do you go to, and I'll pause so that you can write some answers in the chat box. Okay, keep them coming because we're going to all take a look at these. But I know we have, let's see, some students from Stuyvesant High School with us today. And welcome to you. And let's see, looking here, I also see some folks from Thomas Edison high school urban assembly school for emergency management. Great. Thank you all so much for coming today. You may be from different schools and boroughs, but today you are a collective force of young women who will become our next researchers, doctors, chemists, mathematicians, and engineers. Did you know that although women fill close to half of all the jobs in the US, women hold less than 25% of the STEM jobs? And for every 100 women who graduate with a bachelor's degree, only 12 represent the STEM majors, and only 3 continue on to work in STEM fields? There are millions of STEM jobs becoming available, but there aren't enough skilled women to fill them. I think I speak on behalf of all of the sponsoring companies here with us today when I say, we absolutely need you, and we're so glad you're here. With that, I'd like to take a moment to thank our incredible sponsors who made this whole program possible. So thank you to our New York City Goes Red sponsors, which include the Elizabeth Elting Foundation, Rewire Me, UBS, our New York City Life is Y sponsor, Mount Sinai Heart, our innovator sponsor, Salesforce, our catalyst sponsors, McKinsey & Company, New York Life, Northwell Health, and my company, Pfizer. Finally, thank you to our pioneer sponsors. We are giving you all a virtual round of applause for your incredible support and commitment toward this mission. I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize and thank the tremendous women who joined me on this journey by taking a seat on our New York City STEM Goes Red Leadership Committee. And they include Nancy DeVore of Salesforce, Ann Lauterbach Newman of Salesforce, Esther Nye of Salesforce, Betty Smith of New York Life, Dr. Jill KALMAN of Northwell Health, Gayatri Shanae of McKinsey & Company, and Christine Price of Excel Resources. Thank you so much, and let's give them an amazing group of women a virtual round of applause. Thank you for your commitment to empowering young women to pursue their dreams. Let's show our appreciation for these leaders and sponsors in the chat box. If you want, take a moment and just write a couple of notes to us, and we'd love to take a look at them. So today we all come together with the American Heart Association as students and teachers, as corporate mentors, as leaders, sponsors. We unite as a New York City community. We know 2020 has not been easy. And in the face of an unprecedented crisis with the emergence of COVID-19, communities across the nation are struggling with the impact of this virus. By educating ourselves on how to safeguard our health during this challenging time, we can do our best to shield and serve our families, our friends and neighbors, and ourselves from COVID-19. The STEM Goes Red campaign is part of the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women movement, which empowers women to understand their risk for heart disease and take charge of their well-being. Heart disease kills 1 in 3 women, but 80% of incidences are preventable. That's right, preventable. By making healthy lifestyle changes now. As you begin your journey towards a future in STEM, remember to always put your health first. No matter what goals you may have in life, making your health a priority will help you to succeed. I am thrilled now to introduce Dr. Jill KALMAN, the Executive Director for Lenox Hill Hospital System, Medical Director of Patient Experience for Northwell Health, and one of our amazing STEM Goes Red Leadership Committee members. She will be introducing 2 of her colleagues to share some simple tips on how to safeguard and maintain your health and well-being. Welcome, Dr. KALMAN.
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you so much for that introduction. And I'm honored to be here. And my passion for STEM also began in the 9th grade in biology class when I dissected a frog and I was hooked. So to you all out there, live fierce and find your STEM passion. And it is my pleasure to introduce my colleagues and friends, Dr. Rachel Maria Brown, a fierce cardiologist, and Dr. Mangala Narasimhan, a fierce pulmonologist. Thank you for being here today, and I will now pass it on to Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Dr. Kalman. I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited about our future generation of STEM leaders. Maintaining a healthy lifestyle is a critical component to success. The body and the mind equally need care. It is with intention that we make choices to better our well-being. So I'll touch on a few key points, starting with exercise. Basic take-home message is keep it moving. Being sedentary is the enemy. The AHA recommends that kids and teens, such as yourself, do at least 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity every day. What does this mean, moderate and vigorous? Moderate is walking, biking, dancing, keep up those TikTok videos. Vigorous is running, swimming laps, jumping rope. I used to double dutch in the driveway with my cousins. So break out that dusty rope. It counts. The key is to choose activities you enjoy doing, so you look forward to the activity and the time spent becomes less of a factor. A second component of physical health is healthy eating. Remember, food is fuel. Think of your body as a high-end luxury car. It's a Rolls Royce, it's a Bentley. These cars rely on high octane, super premium fuel. They don't perform at optimal capability on regular 87 gasoline, and they certainly won't run on fumes. Your body is the same. It needs high octane premium nutrition in order to run well for the long term. This means whole foods, whole grains, healthy fats, whole fruits, beans, leafy greens, basically anything that looks like it could have come out of the ground, off of a tree, off of a bush is a good rule of thumb for judging what is a whole produce. Reduce red meat and processed meat consumption. That's high in bad fats and salt. Opt for chicken, fish, and vegetable proteins for the majority of your meals. A minimum of intake from what I call the 2 F's, fast and fried, and they often come together. Even less from the added sugars. Another component of physical and even mental health is quality sleep. Sleep is restorative, assisting with stronger immune systems, memory, impulse control, emotional stability. And this leads me to my last few points. Maintaining mental and spiritual well-being is essential. The importance of setting aside time in your day to maintain your spiritual practice cannot be overemphasized. Prayer, meditation, self-reflection allows for the revitalization, the bringing back of life into your spirit and your mind. One cannot quiet the mind if it's continuously bombarded and distracted by noise. And in the age of social media, streaming, remote learning, remote working, we're constantly confronted with input. On one hand, this technology allows us to remain connected to one another in the age of physical distance and separation. But it can also leave us vulnerable to negative influences, compare ourselves with others, leading to feeling unhappy and discontent with ourselves. If you find yourself having a negative experience with technology, take that opportunity to unplug. When you're feeling down on yourself, overwhelmed, unsure of yourself, identify someone you trust and ask for help in the listening ear. The preteen, teenage, young adult years, they're crucial time periods for forming healthy, lifelong habits. So surround yourself with those who love and support you and encourage healthy lifestyle habits for the benefit of the whole you. All right, young ladies, those are my quick tips. Take care.
That was awesome, Dr. Brown. I'm going to take over from there. I'm Mangla Nurseman. I'm a pulmonologist and I work at Northwell Health. I'm a lung doctor, and my job is to keep lungs healthy for the future. And I see all kinds of people in my practice who come to me with lots of different lung disease. And my message to you today is to not put anything in your lungs that is not fresh air. Anything that goes into your lungs will hurt you. And despite what the ingredients or what things say, things are not safe. So around September of last year, September of 2019, we started seeing young people come into our hospitals and intensive care units with breathing disorders, terrible looking lungs with whitish stuff in both of their lungs. And we saw several of these people, one after the other. And it sort of came out of nowhere. We didn't really understand what was going on. And suddenly the reports came out about a new disease that was related to vaping. We started paying a lot of attention to this and asking a lot of questions to these young people who were 18, 19, 20, 22 years old, if they were vaping or not. And all of the patients that came in during that time period were vaping and were treated for vaping-associated lung disease. Some became very sick and went on ventilators, and some became less sick but still ended up in the hospital on oxygen, disabled and crippled by their lung disease from vaping. So this was a new disease, and we tried to figure out how this happened and what happened. And a lot of theories arose from this, that imagine this, you're taking this chemical substance that's in this vaping pen, you're heating it to 400 degrees, and it changes the way the substance is, and it changes the properties of it that settle in your lungs. The cartridges that you buy are unregulated. Nobody knows what's really in them. There's no federal organization saying that it has to be this or that. It's pretty much whatever these companies decide to put in them. And then these products are heated and superheated and end up in your lungs. Your lungs have a reaction to some of these products, and some of these products form a thick caramel-like gel that settle in your lungs. And when that happens, you have trouble doing the normal work of breathing that your lungs need to do, getting oxygen in, getting rid of carbon dioxide. And that creates a lot of problems in your lungs, and we need to start treating you. So we did a lot of procedures on these patients, and we ended up treating them with a lot of oxygen and steroids, and they got better. And then they've sort of been less and less since then, but we see them every once in a while. And again, my warning to you is not to put anything in your lungs that doesn't belong there, whether that's smoking or vaping or just very polluted air, to try and stay away from all of that. Your lungs are what you need for a lifetime of good, healthy, clean breathing. And the earlier you damage them, we don't know if this damage from vaping is permanent or not. We don't know if it affects the way you breathe or how much exercise that you can do in the future. So it is not safe, and we don't even know what in it is not safe. So despite what people may tell you about this being a safe vaping product and that one not, there are no regulations. That the flavorings may be an issue, that the ingredients may be an issue, the heat may be an issue. So be aware, and even a little bit may be too much. So not to be fooled to think that if I do it once in a while, that will be fine. You don't know if that one that you're doing is really the one that will hurt you the most. So you can do anything you want in your life. Don't let things limit you early in your life. Clean living, as Dr. Brown said, is the key. And we don't know what effects some of these vaping products have on not just your lungs, but your brain. The marijuana in these products can affect your development, can affect your brain long-term, and we don't want anyone to be limited in what they can do. So keep it clean, keep away from all of the pollutants that go into your lungs, and exercise a healthy lifestyle, and don't let anybody or anything limit you. I'm a child of 2 immigrants that came to this country with absolutely nothing and have managed to go very far in life, and nothing can stop you if you really want to do what you want. So get out there, do the right thing, keep your body safe and clean, and stay away from those vaping pens, cigarettes, and marijuana products. Good luck to you all, and it was my pleasure to speak to you today.
Thank you, Dr. Brown and Dr. Narasimhan. We asked our students to submit questions in advance, and we have one question for each of you. The first question is for Dr. Brown. A student asks, to be honest, my family does not always make the healthiest choice. Do you have any suggestions on how I can help my family get on board to live healthier? Do you have any tips to start?
Yes, I do. I love this question. Thank you. Excellent. So I would like to couch it in the form of keep it friendly, keep it family, right? Friendly, family oriented, right? So if it's exercise that you want your family to do, make it into a family activity, right? After dinner walks, or if you want to do a competitive cycling or see who can jump the most uninterrupted jump ropes, right? Make it into a friendly competition. If it's food, right, then you can propose, right? If you do some, basic research and say, I think I have a healthy spin on taco night, or I have a healthy spin on fried chicken. It's baked with some, quinoa crumbs, but it still tastes crispy, right? Anything you can do to sort of get the interest level up without it being something of a chore or a negative drawback that the family says, oh, great, now we're doing healthy living, right? That I think that will go very far. So keep it positive, family oriented, right? Bring your family into the fold and get everybody engaged, and also think outside of the box. So think of a spin on the things you like to eat, but a healthy version of it. So with the chicken that I said, for example, tacos, right? Turkey meat instead of beef. So these are things, or fish tacos instead of beef tacos. And always, if you're going to make it, it's better than getting it out. So if you like something that you get from the store or from a fast food restaurant, think of how you can recreate that at home. Have a sort of HGTV or one of those cooking channel competitions at home to see who can make the best home version of fill in the blank fast food. Right. So these are some tips or tricks that may engage your family more in healthy eating and healthy living. Good luck. Great question.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Our next question is for Dr. Narasimhan. My friends are vaping. Is there anything I can do as their friend to get them to stop?
You can be a role model and not do it yourself. You can also tell them that the ingredients in some of these products are things like pesticides and fillers and poisons of all kinds that are used because they're cheap and available. So maybe just information might be enough to get them to stop. That there are lots of articles out there about vaping related lung disease that you can look up. You can show them there's pictures of what happens to your lungs. There's lots of different ways. There was a kid who had to have a lung transplant because of the vaping that he was doing. So it's out there. It's on social media. You can easily get to it, and maybe informing them of what they're doing might be enough to get people to stop. I think people don't realize how harmful it is and what it can do. So a little information can go a long way.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Narasimhan. And thank you very much, Dr. Brown. And now it is back to you, Jen.
Thank you so much to both of you. I think I have to say a few words before we continue, because I've had these same conversations with teams here. Vaping, we had a whole conversation about how they're picky eaters and it bothers their stomach. And I said, but you're going to put something into your lungs that you don't know what it is. And I love the way you described it. We just don't know what it is. And it would be horrible to find out down the road that you couldn't do what you wanted to do because you vaped. And then I loved the take care equally of your body and your mind, and the suggestion of keeping it moving in TikTok and the contest to create food, because we've indeed done that, incorporated both the dancing and the TikTok with the creating your own food, and doing exactly what you said, where it's restaurants and even fast food, Popeyes, chicken that we love, and we try to recreate them at home, but in a much healthier version. So it makes it a really fun night. So I hope students that you'll enjoy that and take it back to share some of this information with your family and friends, and take the tips to heart to really keep yourselves well. Next, I'm honored to introduce two powerful women in the world of STEM. Liz Elting is the founder and CEO of the Elizabeth Elting Foundation. She's a top-level supporter and a generous donor, and an advocate for the mission of the American Heart Association. She served the AHA in a number of leadership roles through Go Red for Women, and is currently a member of the American Heart Association's New York City Board of Directors. Most recently, her generosity helped us to launch the Bernard J. Tyson Impact Fund. And joining Liz today is Tessa Wayne, a college freshman and founder of GLAM, which is Girls Learning Advanced Math. Tessa has always loved math and observed at an early age that there were more boys than girls in her math classes at school, and I can attest to that. As she progressed through school, Tessa found that she was often one of, or the only girl in her math class or in a math contest. Yep, attest to that. In 2019, after her high school sophomore year, she started GLAM to share her passion for math with girls. And Liz had the opportunity to sit down with Tessa and learn more about her STEM journey. We'll share a clip from the interview now, and we'll put the full version available for viewing after this kickoff in your STEM Goes Red agenda. So let's look at the interview.
My name is Liz Elting, and I am founder and CEO of the Elizabeth Elting Foundation, which I started after being an entrepreneur for 26 years. And what I do with my foundation is focus on supporting and empowering women and other marginalized populations. And I'm so excited to be here today with Tessa Wayne. So Tessa, so great to see you. If you could start by telling our audience a little bit about yourself. First of all, where are you from?
Yeah, Liz, it's great to see you too. So I'm from New York City. I've lived here my entire life, but I'm actually still here because I'm a freshman at Stanford, but unfortunately I'm taking my classes online.
Kudos to you for, dealing with these challenges. And if you could tell us, what are you studying at Stanford?
Yeah, so I actually am not 100% sure what I want to study. Part of the reason I picked Stanford was I didn't need to know that yet, but I am definitely leaning towards Stanford's management science and engineering major in their engineering school, which is a mix of business and engineering and kind of a very mishmash of a major. And I'm also really interested in studying possibly or minoring in computer science.
And that is so nice when you don't have to zero in on exactly a very specific area initially and instead you're getting an amazing base in STEM. And, as far as your STEM journey, can you tell us all about GLAM and why you started GLAM?
So I've always loved math. Math is definitely my favorite subject. And all through high school, I was really fortunate to have access to a lot of great math classes and electives and really cool classes. And as I was going through these classes and as I got older, the amount of females in these classes just kept drastically dropping and dropping. This trend had been going on for over the course of a few years. I decided to do some research about it. And in my research, I discovered that this whole idea that, oh, girls don't belong in STEM, girls can't do math, boys are much better than girls at math idea really starts to tear girls' confidence as young as middle school, particularly in these underrepresented schools. So I decided to create GLAM so GLAM stands for Girls Learning Advanced Math. And GLAM is an all-girl environment in these middle schools where girls get to meet and have high school volunteers and who are also females instruct them and teach them. And the only requirement for being in one of our GLAM groups is that you enjoy math. And so the whole premise of the group is that they meet and the girls get to dictate basically the entire curriculum. They tell our instructors what they're interested in learning, what they want to do, so that we can provide them a place where they can see how fun math can be and how cool it can be, and they can explore things that they're not necessarily exploring in their classes. Our volunteers are all high schoolers because not only do we act sort of as a math program where we show girls in an all-girl environment that they can ask questions and feel comfortable, we also have high schoolers there to support them and mentor them and answer their questions.
That's amazing. So it sounds like you really meet these girls where they are. And what I think could be really helpful for all of the people watching is if you could share details on how you work with the students.
So this year, obviously, we're all online, but it's actually been an okay transition going from in-person to online. But what we do is we meet with each group for about an hour a week. Really small, there's like 8 to 12 in some of the groups, and some of our larger groups, I just have more volunteers in. So you get pretty close attention if you're in a GLAM group. And the way we work with the girls is our first session with every group is what words come to mind when you think, what do I want to learn about math? And we always get a very vast variety of different things. So the way we kind of plan our sessions is our groups of instructors discuss the things that they want to discuss and find good, interesting, fun ways to approach it. And we come in and we're basically like, we show them games, and a lot of games. We give them a lot of one-on-one attention. We always come in with options also as to what they want to learn, because we always want to make sure that the girls are doing something that they're interested in. So it's a very collaborative environment. There's a lot of the girls working together.
That's fantastic. I mean, that's, like just like in business, right? Finding out what the customer needs, the consumer needs, and then giving it to them. That's fabulous. And what would you say has been the reaction from the students and the schools you're working with?
So truthfully, the reaction's been incredible. It's something I really didn't imagine happening when I started GLAM. Just the response that these girls have from, if you can compare them to the first day I walked into that classroom to the last day of the school year, they came into the class quiet, shy, not really sure, some of them not feeling very confident in math. And by that last week, they were like begging me not to walk out the door. And a lot of parents have started reaching out to me, and I get a lot of really amazing emails that mean so much to me from these parents telling me that their daughters can't stop talking about what they learned at GLAM at the dinner table, or how much progress they've made in their math. And I think it's had a really strong impact on the girls who participated.
Okay. And what is the one thing you know now that you wished you'd known?
I think I wish I had known that asking questions is a good thing. I've always had a lot of questions. I've always wanted to know the why in math, but I sometimes honestly would not necessarily feel comfortable in a math class, especially if there were a ton of boys, being the one to ask, why does this work? Or say, oh, I'm not 100% sure I understand why this is happening. Ask. Other people want to know, and it'll only make you a better student if you ask. But no, I'd say my biggest piece of advice, I tell a lot of people going into high school this, is that take classes that interest you, explore things that interest you. Don't take classes just because you're told you're supposed to take those classes. Study things that you find interesting. I took math electives I took 2 math classes every quarter, every semester at school, and like a lot of people call me crazy because I took a lot of math, but take what you are interested in, take things that you will find interesting so that you are engaged in class. When you go to college, don't necessarily go in saying like, I have to study this. Like, just go in and always have an open mind and explore anything that you think is interesting.
But asking questions, I couldn't agree with more. And then study what you love, pursue what you love, and it will work out. What wonderful advice. And that's so great that you're telling people. And obviously that's worked out beautifully for you so far. And I truly believe that is, such a key to success, perhaps the key to success. So what a wonderful cause. And it's certainly what, one of the focuses of AHA, one of our focuses with STEM Goes Red. So thank you so much for sharing that with us, Tessa.
Thank you so much, Liz. It's been great to be here.
Well, thank you so much, Liz and Tessa. And I have to say, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I'm an immunologist in my PhD, and they didn't have that back in the day. I just followed what I loved and took the classes I wanted, and here I am. So students, if you're interested in becoming a GLAM mentor, you can email GLAM directly. Look in the chat box now, and you should see the email address. Now I'd like to introduce Nancy DeVore. She's the Senior Director of Strategic Relations for Salesforce and a member of the New York City STEM Goes Red leadership team. And she'll tell us a little bit more about what to expect as a participant over the next 2 weeks. So Nancy, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen. And I'm so inspired. Thank you to all the speakers. I want to go and eat right and make healthy food and work out and join GLAM and live fierce. So thank you very much for having me today. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. Students, we thank you for joining us today. We hope you take advantage of all of these interactive, engaging sessions and touch points that are planned for you over the course of the next 2-week experience. So first, you'll have 3 live mentoring sessions with STEM industry leaders, which we'll share more details about in just a moment. The second component of our program is our online STEM-related activities, strategically crafted by our event sponsors to help you explore the exciting world of STEM. All information on how to complete activities and participate in our live mentoring sessions will be housed on our STEM Goes Red experience and participation website. You can click the Agenda tab for the schedule of live events, as well as the recommended completion calendar for the activities. As you complete the activities and attend live sessions, you'll be rewarded points. As you earn more points, you'll reach different achievement levels, and each level unlocks an incentive like American Heart Association goodies like water bottles, a chance to win a virtual career day with a STEM company, one-on-one mentoring sessions, and more. Lucky for you, you're off to a strong start. By attending today's kickoff, you've just earned your first 75 points. Our program begins today and ends on November 20th, so please be sure to follow the instructions online for how to submit your points and get credit for all of your hard work. And most importantly, we hope that you'll have fun. Take pictures and share your experience on social media using hashtag STEMGoesRedNYC and hashtag GoRedNYC. Now, I'm personally super excited about our live mentoring sessions. I'd like to introduce you to one of my fellow STEM Goes Red Leadership Committee members, Gayatri Shenoy of McKinsey, who's going to tell you a little bit more about what to expect.
Good afternoon, students. My name is Gayatri Shenoy. I'm a partner at McKinsey & Company, a management consulting firm. An engineer by training, I'm deeply passionate about ensuring we have more women in STEM. As we think about the nature of work changing now and where the future of work is headed, it's incredibly important, personally to me, that we make sure women stay competitive and present in fields like computer science and STEM. These are the fields where most of the action is happening today, and honestly, going to only increase in terms of more and more people working alongside machines to make the most of what machines can do for humans. For the next 2 weeks, you'll be immersed in programs and activities designed specifically for you. And these have been designed to engage and empower you, our future leaders, to learn about and potentially pursue STEM career paths. I encourage you to make the most of this opportunity. You will have the opportunity to join live virtual mentoring sessions where you'll be able to meet and interact with STEM industry leaders like myself. We encourage you to participate at these sessions. Not only are they worth 100 points towards your possible incentives, they will also highlight some amazing industry leaders and executives for you. These sessions will be live. We are all so excited to speak with you and answer some of your most burning questions about our industries, career paths, and how our passion for and journey through STEM got us to where we are today. Do come prepared to these sessions with questions you want to ask, and ask them in the chat box functionality. We are here to answer. Please join us on Monday, November 9th at 4 p.m. for our technology and engineering mentoring session, where you will be able to hear from sponsoring companies like Salesforce, New York Life, and ServiceNow. Join us on Thursday, November 12th at 4 p.m. where you'll be able to hear from some amazing women at Estee Lauder companies, Mount Sinai Heart, and Northwell Health during our science and healthcare mentoring session. And finally, last but not the least, if you're interested in a math or finance career, join us on Tuesday, November 17th at 4 p.m. for our math and finance mentoring session. Here you will meet some of my colleagues from McKinsey & Company and also friends from UBS and Publicis Health. On behalf of the STEM Goes Red Leadership Committee, I would also like to take this time to thank all of our wonderful mentors who have agreed to join us in these mentoring sessions. We thank them for taking their time out of their busy schedules in advance to share a little bit more about themselves and provide advice and have fun with our students. See you all soon, and now back to you, Jen.
Okay, and thank you both so much. I'm going to be in all the sessions. I'm already excited. And then my team and I from Pfizer will be there on the 12th at 4 o'clock. So students, feel free, if you'd like to use the chat box now, tell us which of these mentoring sessions you might be most excited about, any initial questions, anything that you'd like to communicate to us, we'll take a look at. And to the mentors and leaders joining us this afternoon, feel free to send a couple words of encouragement to our students, right? So while we're doing that, let me get started introducing. So I'm honored to introduce the keynote speaker, Rochelle Kimbrell, a former Lieutenant Colonel of the United States Air Force, and the first, I repeat, first African-American female fighter pilot. Rochelle is the daughter of 2 immigrant parents from Guyana and is passionate about educating and inspiring young women to pursue their dreams, regardless of the barriers in their paths. She grew up in Colorado and is a 1998 graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy. She served on active duty in the Air Force Reserve until retiring from the Air Force in June of 2020. Her graduation from initial F-16 training in August of 2000 marked her as the first African-American female fighter pilot in the U.S. Air Force. Her first combat deployment in Turkey in support of Operation Northern Watch made her the first female pilot to fly combat missions for Misawa's 35th Fighter Wing, and her tactical engagements made her the first African-American female pilot to employ ordnance in combat. She has flown combat missions and combat support missions in operations Northern Watch, Southern Watch, Enduring Freedom, Freedom Sentinel, and Inherent Resolve. She also served as the 2nd Brigade Air Liaison Officer and a Joint Terminal Attack Controller in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom. Please join me in giving a warm, warm welcome to our 2020 New York City STEM Goes Red keynote speaker, Ms. Rochelle Kimbrell.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the opportunity to share this event with you. This is a very exciting time in your lives, and I am honored to be part of it. And it's a hard act to follow those amazing women that went before me. So I'm just going to jump into it because I don't have a lot of time. As I go through different phases of life, I continue to learn who I am, and different seasons bring different challenges and different lessons. As I talk about my journey, I challenge you to draw parallels in your life to understand and explore who you are and your vision for yourself. My hope is that you find something that resonates with you today, and that you will know your value and what you have to offer the STEM community or any path that you choose to take. Like all of you, I have many identities. I'm a retired Air Force officer after almost 22 years, a graduate of the Air Force Academy with an engineering major. I'm a pioneer in the fighter pilot world, which means I've spent most of my career as the only female pilot in my squadron, and all of my years in operational squadrons as the only Black officer in my squadron. A squadron is the small group of people that you work with most closely. I am a sister, I am a daughter of immigrants. Most importantly, at this point in my life, I am a wife and a mother of 2 young Black boys. And like all of you and all of us, I was born outside of my comfort zone. Why do I share this with you? Each and every one of you is complex, and every identity means something, and it is a distinct part of who we are. You are all daughters, some of you are sisters. We are all shaped by our experiences, which means everything from who our parents are, where we grew up, music we listened to, books we read, videos and movies that we watched, teams we were on, coaches we had, and what we dream about. All of these things help to define where we are today. In my journey, I found that my dreams were a driving force for creating goals, which led to a vision that I was so excited about that I made a commitment to myself. And the follow through helped me to accomplish what I have so far. My journey into the male dominated technological career of being a fighter pilot started in Parker, Colorado. Our family was one of 2 Black families in the area, and going through school in my grade, I was the only Black student in my grade. I believe that many of my experiences growing up prepared me for some of my trials later in life. Starting as early as kindergarten, I was questioned by my classmates why I was different. I had no idea in kindergarten how to answer that question. So what do all kindergartners do? You ask your mom, right? And my mom told me something only a mother would say. She said, tell those kids not to be mad because God forgot to color them in. And so I used that for some time until I learned to have my own responses. We often seek an explanation for why we are the way that we are, to make ourselves feel better about our differences, sometimes even our strengths or our perceived weaknesses. I spent much of my elementary years helping teachers at recess when I didn't feel like being bothered with the social stresses of childhood instead of going outside to recess. It was in those moments that I started to build an invisible wall to protect my delicate psyche. My wall was built by hiding my emotions and having snide remarks. I had a comeback for everything at a very young age, which now as a parent is not doing me any favors. Since kindergarten, I wanted to be an astronaut, not the norm for a young woman. I was fascinated with the vastness of space and weightlessness, the unknown, and literally everything. I even wrote away to NASA on the big lined kindergarten paper and asked them what it would take to become an astronaut. And to my surprise, they responded with a huge packet, very daunting packet of information. And as I learned more about space and continued to be fascinated, I realized that all astronauts don't actually go to space. They spend countless hours training, but in the end, only a few get chosen to go. So by the time I was in 4th grade, I decided I wanted to be a fighter pilot. It was still about the vastness of the sky. There was still speed and wonder. So in support of my dream, my parents got me a couple of flying lessons to check my conviction. The first flight for me completely sealed the deal. For me, flying is about freedom. It's being in control in all dimensions. It's releasing myself from all bondage that ties me down mentally, emotionally, and physically. It is the ultimate freedom. So that experience solidified my vision for my life. I was driven and I had determined my purpose. And knowing my purpose helped me to be on purpose. And it helped me to get through all of the normal stresses of grade school, junior high, high school. The walls that I had built had become my fortress, and they allowed me to operate against the grain without internalizing the social stresses because I was living my life on purpose. I had built my own self-worth. I didn't get wrapped up in the superficial madness, which can be debilitating and cause young people to struggle with self-worth, which I completely get. But I got my kicks from knowing I was doing what others weren't. While kids were out partying after prom, I took my best friend and her date and my friend night flying over the lights of Denver instead of getting consumed with the partying. Fitting in, it wasn't really on my radar at that stage. I was aware of my lonely existence, but because I followed a path I had made for myself, I was confident in what I was doing. I see a concern in my son as he talks about people not understanding him and how no one wants to do what he wants to do. I try to explain to him that I didn't find those people until I was 24 years old. So when people first started asking me how I ended up here, I stepped back and realized that I had reverse engineered my life based on where I knew I wanted to go. Just like planning a road trip. Let's digress from my journey for just a second. And let me ask you, if you wanted to go on the best vacation ever, what would you do? Would you just jump in a car and start driving? Or would you just get in a plane and hope it took you somewhere cool? Of course not. That's silly, right? You figure out where you want to go. Let's say it's Miami. You figure out what vehicle do you need to get there? Do you need a car or do you need a plane? Well, that depends on where you're starting. Let's say we drive. How do you navigate there? What if you hit a roadblock? What if there's a big detour? Now is when your why comes into play. Are you going to go to your destination regardless because it's something that you want to do? If there's one speed bump or detour, is it going to keep you from moving forward, or are you going to find another route and find a way? So why is life any different? Why don't some people put any thought into where they want to go? Life is the greatest adventure you will ever have, and you get to decide. Is your vision for your life faint or is it strong? How real is your dream to you? Will one challenge shut you down, or are you laser focused, and in the face of challenges and roadblocks, are you going to go over it, around it? Are you going to turn back and start over if you had to? How do you envision it for yourself? For me, I was laser focused. I was 10 feet tall and bulletproof with an attitude like, come at me, bro. So let me give you a little bit more context. When I started talking about being a fighter pilot, I was 9 years old, and women weren't allowed to be in combat, let alone fly jets in combat. And that bit of legislation didn't change for 10 years. So this little Black girl from Parker, Colorado, a town with 2 Black families, was going to move that mountain. So when people ask me if there were challenges, was it hard? What do you think? Of course. But was I going to let those roadblocks and detours stop me from my vision? Absolutely not. I actually think that since I've been going against the grain for my whole life, against the grain looks normal to me. Every person that questioned my path or told me it wasn't possible added fuel to my fire. Women can't fly in combat, they'd say. My response, I'm sure that'll change in 10 years, or I'll change it. What happens if you don't get selected for fighters? My response, I'll cross that bridge if I have to. I didn't have time or energy to entertain all the what ifs. My chosen path was reverse engineered. I asked, how do I become a fighter pilot? Go to the Air Force Academy. They have the most pilot training slots. How do I get in? You have to be well-rounded, have good grades, leadership experience. And so I joined Civil Air Patrol and I got leadership experience. I kept playing sports. I got my pilot's license when I was 17. And that started my transition into the military. My journey into the military was what I had expected because I had prepared for it since 4th grade. Remember I mentioned daughter of immigrants, which means there are not multiple generations of military service in my background. So it was all an adventure, and I had to figure it out as I went along. One of my earliest challenges was learning to ask for help. I thought I had to have it all figured out. And when I started to struggle in classes at the academy, it was hard for me to ask for help. At pilot training, that's when I had to step up and swallow my pride, because everything I wanted was riding on my ability to step outside of my comfort zone and get the extra instruction that I needed to teach me things that I had never learned. I mean, when I step back and look at it now, it's completely reasonable to struggle with concepts that I had only learned once or twice and techniques I had never tried. But at the time, it was overwhelming. So I worked through that eventually and excelled in pilot training. There's a steep learning curve and a lot of material. Flying fighters is very different from the Cessnas I started out in. I spent twice as long as most of my classmates in the vault learning tactics because I knew nothing about war or threats or using an aircraft as a weapon. And combat was completely different. But we don't have time to get into that today. I was on the leading edge of change in every fighter pilot community, or in the fighter pilot community. And everything I did was uncertain and unprecedented at a point. Even having children and learning to balance marriage and children with such a demanding career, I had to adjust my focus and priorities in different phases of my life. And I'll be the first to tell you, I didn't always get it right. What I know is that the next generation is important, and we have to expose young adults and children to possibilities so that their ability to dream can be stimulated. And we have to breathe belief and value into people if we are going to have a positive impact. I've learned many concepts along my journey so far, and there are a few I would like to pass on to you as you start your journey. First, believe in yourself. As I moved through challenges, I didn't create roadblocks for myself that ever caused me to question my self-worth or my abilities. There were enough inherent roadblocks on my journey. Too often, we add to those by questioning our self-worth because of what society has indoctrinated us to believe about ourselves as women. Second, find mentors. When I heard mentorship, I misunderstood and took it to think that that mentor needed to be somebody that looked like me. And that simply isn't the case. If you want to be successful, find someone who is successful in what you want to do. But equally important, that person needs to be willing to share how to reach that success. And finally, that person has to value you. Third, when the time is right, share your story. For a long time, I didn't see my value or the point of sharing my story because I felt marginalized by a culture that wanted to treat everyone the same. Leaders at that time believed that treating everyone the same created inclusiveness. We've come a long way, and leaders are starting to understand that each person's unique story and journey is what gives us strength. The value that a person brings to a team or a career is their unique perspective and their diverse thought. If allowed to operate in an inclusive environment that encourages each of us, there is no problem that it would be too great for humanity to solve, right? You each out there in the audience are brilliant and have so much to contribute. Surround yourself with people who value you and challenge you to be your best self. I hope that this glimpse into my experience sparks a flame in at least one of you to revisit your dreams and examine if you are fighting for your dreams or if you have let some obstacle derail you. Continue to ask yourself, what is your vision? Understand that you are worthy, capable, and deserving of a great life. Only you can set goals for you. Whether challenges are put in front of you out of malice or bias or injustice or simply by accident, how will you choose to face those challenges? What do you want to do with your life? Not what do your friends and parents and teachers think you should do, but what do you want to accomplish? You all have value to add to this world. Where will you make your mark? However small or large your vision, you will add value. So at this time, if there are questions, I think they're going to read them.
Thank you, Rochelle. So we once again asked our students to submit questions beforehand, and we have a couple we'd like to share with you. The first one is, who is your role model?
Who is my role model? You know, I changed that recently to Michelle Obama. And I changed that to her because she's just so poised and she connects with people. And I'm in a phase in my life where connecting with people, I see the inherent value in that now. So she is one of my role models.
Okay, our second question is, if you could travel back in time and tell your 16-year-old self something, what would it be?
I would tell my 16-year-old self to continue to move the puck. After you've reached that goal, set a new goal. Because at 24, I had reached my life's goal. And that's when I started the confusion in my life because I didn't know what was next. I didn't have that further vision. I knew what I wanted to do from 9 to 24. And when I arrived, I hadn't thought beyond that. So continue to challenge yourself, continue to set those goals so that you're always striving for something to be your best self.
Thank you very much, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed this.
Jen, back to you.
Wow. Thank you, Rochelle, for taking the time to share your story. It's incredible. And the messages today with our students, it's certainly left me feeling inspired. So a couple last things. Students, we are just so excited to have you participate in the rest of the STEM programming. Please review the STEM Goes Red agenda on our Bizibo site to see and familiarize yourself with all the activities that are planned. I'll draw your attention once again to the 3 live mentoring sessions on November 9th, November 12th, and November 17th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I look forward to seeing you all there. If you have questions at any point during the 2 weeks, please reach out to your teachers and they'll be able to provide the answers to you with the guidance from our STEM Goes Red team. And at this time, I also want to take a moment to thank all of the teachers. My parents are retired teachers, so I can say on behalf of the whole group here, we really appreciate your passion, your support in providing students with the opportunity to learn how to build a better future, and for your efforts in coordinating their participation with us today. To our students, thank you guys so much for participating and bringing your enthusiasm, your energy to the program. We all believe in you. And last, a special thank you to all of our sponsors and leaders for making this program possible. All of us together can and will build a brighter, healthier tomorrow for all women.
That concludes the 2020 New York City STEM Goes Red kickoff. Thank you for attending and have a wonderful evening.
Live stream is down. Thank you, everyone.